Look, I think for a start, from the tour's point of view, I thought I'd get the most out of visiting Facebook, Twitter, Google, the big players. What I found from them was we got a lot of information that we already knew or partly knew. I think the interesting thing is just to see how other companies, the smaller startups, as well as companies like GM, are tackling this issue that technology is changing the world that we live in. So for mine, it was how they're addressing that, what they're doing around innovation that we can take away. And there's too many probably just to mention quickly, but one would be to say that innovation is important, and it's born by giving your staff the permission to fail and come up with ideas, and if they don't work, that's fine, you kill it and you move on. And the other key one was you've got to have the right staff. I think it's becoming very clear that a lot of the startups say they're getting these people who come in the door with a lot of passion. They know more about the business and the startup that they're involved in than often the person who set it up does. And that's what drives them, and that's what drives success. Look, a lot of that, I think Earl said in there that the math men are replacing the madmen. I think you need to have a degree in all sorts of mathematical sciences to understand a lot of this stuff, because it's very complex. And I think that was challenging to me as someone who's on the editorial side of the business, is to understand it. But having said that, you do get a sense that the whole advertising model now is changing, and it's changing rapidly, and it's going to change again and again and again. And as a business, I guess what we were once a newspaper business, we used to just sell space in a newspaper, and that was pretty clean, and you could understand how that worked. Now it's just so complex. But having said that, the one thing that's sort of central to all of this, and I've got that through this week as well, is that content is still very important. The big players want to play with our content. There's now advertising models set up around our content and our audiences. So we're still relevant. What we just need to do is work out a way to make that part of it commercial. So the advertising stuff today, even though it was very complex, at least there are a lot of people who are thinking about it. There are businesses set up around making that work for publishers. We just need to work out the best way for that to work for us. And it's very complex, and it just changes so fast. So going back to that key, having the right people in the right places, you just need people that can understand this and can change quickly. And that's a big challenge for us. I mean, that's the part that I've just, I got drunk on a little bit of that, I must admit. Because there is this idea though, and I think it's one that's probably going to be unique to Silicon Valley and to here, simply because of the money that's being invested. This idea that it doesn't really matter if you make money off it, just have a crack, and if it fails, so what, move on to the next thing. Huge amounts of money are being invested in the risk because they can see the upside is so huge. If you get it right and you become the next Facebook, well, I mean, I just saw the top 10 list today, the most highly valued companies on earth. Apple's in there, Alphabet, Google's in there, Facebook's in there. I mean, it just shows if you get it right big time. So I think the challenge around that is they don't care if they make money at the moment. Now, of course, they eventually do, but they don't right now, whereas we're businesses that do care. And I think that probably breeds this idea of just, who cares, just have a go. And I think we can probably take away from that something. I'm not sure what it is just yet. But this culture that, that they'll take risks and that's fine, that they can fail and that's fine.